Magnificent! Magnificent! Magnificent!
It's Chillmonger with another comic book review of the magnificent Ms. Marvel. If this is the first time on this channel, yes, they really are that perfect. Disclaimer for anyone who thought this was the movie review, we're talking about Ms. Marvel. Now that the normies have gone, let's start from the tippy top of the book. It's written by Saladin Ahmed, a whole new creative team for this book. And it starts off with me rolling my eyes. Tell me again, Father, tell me about the Destined One. And he calls her the planet's greatest hero. Ugh. I remember Cable saying this right before AVX. He said this about Spider-Man, like, oh, I can't believe that kid grows up to be the greatest hero. I mean, you know, multiple timelines, I guess, it's Marvel. But the book picks back up. The fight sequence that they show was awesome. I want to credit the artist because I used to read Black Panther with Reginald Hudlin, and they would do these things where there would be multiple Kamalas on the screen. You see her on the shoulder of the villain, and she would be small and then embiggen, like she says. And it's like, yeah, man, she can do that stuff. There's another part in this book where she embiggens her hands into, like, they're not even hands anymore. They're just, but she's a polymorph, so that's why it's okay. And she kind of squishes the enemy with that. And I think this guy is gonna, or either it's him or it's the artist or it's both. They're gonna do a great job of making this book awesome with the powers, because I mean, she's a Skrull. She's got Mr. Fantastic's power in here. She's got a healing ability as well. Who else does she do? She can be Ant-Man and go smaller and bigger. Like, she's three heroes in one. Maybe she is the greatest of all time. But continuing on with the book, I wrote notes here. I don't know why I don't use them. She was going to clean up the mess after the battle with this villain, which is consistent with Champions. That's why she left the Avengers, because they would just kind of save the day and save the train from crashing, but they wouldn't really help get the people off board, like the little things, and that's the kind of hero she is. So she says, I mean, I was gonna help you clean up, and we know she can do that. All she gotta do is embiggen her hands, clean up the mess, and hey, your store is fine. And next page we go to the, like, it served every purpose. There was a store called Habibi, and there was a joke about brown people time, which is something that people say. And then they continued the older story about gentrification happening in New Jersey. In, what's her city called? Jersey City? Jersey City. So they continued that, and it's consistent with the previous run, which is always nice when the writers don't just disregard. Anything you want to say for the camera?
Nope.
Disregard the previous writer's run and then just make their own stories. No, this was cool. Next part I want to give credit to was the page turn of suspense, which is one thing I always talk about. She gets home, she sees her dad, it's all dark and gloomy, and he says, "You've been lying to me." Every reader is saying, oh, okay, we know that the mom knows about her secret identity. Her friends just found out about the secret identity. Well, they always knew. She just kind of came forward and she said, and the friend said, we always knew the whole time. But now the dad. And I'm like, okay, I guess he knows the secret identity, but they're going to do a stupid swerve. I still had to turn the page to find out, which was great. And we got the answer. And it looks like dad is about to not have much time. Something happened where the mother couldn't finish the sentence, but it looks like the dad is on his way downhill. And I also wrote here that I liked the pacing of who she revealed her identity to. We're at issue number 58, it says at the bottom. It's number 1, but all around her whole story, it's the 58th issue of this character. And that's how long it took to get all her friends to know, her mom to know, and her dad to know. And I don't think her brother knows, but he probably has his suspicions. Regardless, this is better than Nova, Sam Alexander, who just let his friends know. But like, the friends were not ever as important as the side characters in this comic are. Worse than that, Peter Parker with Aunt May, MJ. Who else did he let know? Jameson knows. A couple of villains know. I prefer this. Look, we didn't kill Ms. Marvel from inception. Didn't kill her parents so that we could have these moments like this. It's to tell different stories. Their parents were always going to know from the beginning of the creation of this character. And we're fleshing out that, adding for drama that really doesn't happen much in comic books. Well, in Marvel. The dad brings up a good point to her, like, how much time did you almost die? Very good timing, because if you read Champions number 2, actually I'm just going to recommend it. Go ahead and read it from the last month. Go to your comic store. Champions issue 2 is a story where kind of that happens, and check it out. So great timing. It looks like there's plans. There's a forward thinking. Love that about the comic books. There's another villain that they have to fight, which is very convenient that there's all these villains happening in the city, but they've got this thing where they turn to goo afterwards. At first I thought it was because of her powers, she just turned them to goo, which, look at that, great stuff. But based on the last page, it seems to be more to the story. Wasn't a big hook to me, the final page reveal of dun dun dun, but I mean everything else in the book was solid and hitting all the right notes. I will give this comic book an 8 out of 10. It is a good jumping on point for Ms. Marvel because they explain who she is, you know, with the beginning of the book, with the original, you know, that paragraph up there, and there's really not much else that they talk about. They just give credits to the writers. There's no other, hey, this is important to know in the story. It's a good jumping on point. Thank you for watching the video. I got a whole lot more comic books to read, and you can expect a review of all of them tomorrow, all in one video. Chillmonger.